We're here today with Linda Caine, best-selling author of the book Out of the Dark. My name is Jeff Hall. I'm a video producer from California. And Linda and I are working on a documentary about her book Out of the Dark, which takes place mostly in England. Mm-hmm. And so we were over in England a few months ago working on the filming for the documentary. And we met with your literary agent, Mark Lucas. And mm-hmm. I knew at the time that you had an idea for a new book that you wanted to suggest to him. So we had lunch. You remember that day?
Yes, I do, because it didn't go as I'd hoped. I was excited about a book that I had started compiling short stories that I thought would make great pick-up and put-down reading at bedtime. But Mark was less enthusiastic, and then he suggested that I write another autobiography.
Well, I remember I was a little bit surprised at the idea of doing a second autobiography. I'll bet you were a little surprised too, weren't you?
Oh, very. I'd never considered writing another one. It seemed a little egotistical, and I really at first was not sure where to go with that.
As I remember, there was some discussion about some of the ways that you might approach doing your second book.
Mark had some ideas which helped me. He'd said that the book Out of the Dark was written focused on my breakdown and recovery, and it was written in alternate chapters with my therapist, Dr. Robin Royston, told from my point of view and then Robin's point of view of my therapy. And then my past came in as we went through it and tried to work out what had caused me to have such a devastating emotional breakdown. And he said I should think about approaching a second book, focusing instead on my life, with the therapy coming in incidentally as the small part that it has been in my life. And when I say small part, I don't mean that it was insignificant. I mean more in time. It was 3 years out of a life of many, many years.
So once you decided to go ahead with the writing of the book, did you have any idea of how you're going to approach this writing of a second autobiography? How did that come about?
Well, when I left England, I actually had no idea whatsoever. I was excited about it, but the thought of just writing it chronologically from beginning to end didn't seem very exciting. But then it was amazing. Flying from Lusaka into the lower Zambezi Valley was, I think, the most turbulent flight I've ever been in my life. We were being tossed around the sky like a leaf in the wind. Up there, just watching the wild part of Africa that I'd been away from for so long beneath me, it was just like the book began writing itself. It was just the most amazing experience.
I've had a few plane rides like that myself, although when it happened to me, it didn't result in a new book. But what you said was that was the beginning of the first chapter of your new book, and I'm hoping that you brought something along with you can read for us.
Yes, actually I have. Glasses. The light aircraft being thrown around the sky mirrors my emotional turmoil and seems a fitting way to re-enter this magnificent land of my birth. I've been away from this wild Africa for 35 years, and my heart pounds with excitement. Shimmering below us, the reflection of the sun in the Zambezi River blinds me for a moment, and the 6-seater Beach Baron seems to pivot on the tip of its wing as it turns towards the long rectangular airstrip that has been hewn out of the thick bush. The pilot steadies the aircraft as the runway rushes towards us, and the smooth landing takes me by surprise after the turbulent flight. We taxi off the runway, coming to a halt in a clearing where a Land Rover and its driver wait for us. Opening the aircraft door, I pull myself out of my seat and duck my head as I step out, carefully navigating my way down the wing onto the small step, and then finally jumping down onto the red earth. As I look up, the sights, sounds, and scents unique to Africa envelop me. I'm unprepared for the strength of the assault on my senses. Memories flood my mind in elusive, tangled snatches. Tears prick my eyes, and I put my head down to hide them as I walk towards the waiting Land Rover. Oh, Africa, how I've missed you. How I love you. How privileged I was to grow up on your soil. Sorry.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. It's easy to see how much passion you write with, and that you write really from the heart. I got a real sense of what it was like. I could picture you getting off the plane and the feelings that you had when you first put your feet on the red earth, as you said.
As much as I knew why I was going out there, I was still unprepared for the strength of my response when the plane landed and I got out. It was just incredible.